Yeah. Ace Attorney Look at the dog. Yo, we got the doggo in the house. Dog. Puppy. I don't know why I'm getting so excited to see the dog shadow. Yeah. Puppy, look at the dog. What a good boy. All right. God, I really do like. I just like music. I like a lot of music in general. I don't usually like swears though, and I'm not just saying that as like a thing. I don't know. It just not a fan. I hear a lot of swears in rap, and I hear a lot of swears in country, and it is kind of making me dislike both genres a little more. Just, it shouldn't, but it does. I don't like. See, I feel like swears are kind of inherently vulgar, and in my opinion, in order to use them, you must either be viscerally saying them, you know, like interjections. Like if you stub your toe and you say the F word, then ka-chow, you know? Or you have to have a real purpose to them. And I do think that swear words lose a lot of their edge when they're used so frequently. I don't think that using swear words makes you immature per se. I use swear words a lot. Usually I use them when I'm trying to emphasize something. The problem is that swear words are used so often in rap and country contexts that they've begun to lose their meaning. Like, casual use of swear words, not a fan. Ariana Grande's Thank You Next song does not need the swear word. They had nothing. Like, she drops them so casually. You could argue, yeah, sure, the fact that she's able to casually drop those swear words means that she feels a betrayal, or not a betrayal, but like in the context of Thank You Next, Ariana Grande uses swear words. She says, "I'm so effing grateful for my ex," multiple times, like so many times. You could argue that this is, you could interpret this as being either that she's just casually dropping these swears on purpose in order to show that despite the fact that she's had all these exes, she really doesn't care about them. Or if you want to go a level deeper, you could say that she's pretending that she doesn't care, but she really does care, and she's trying but failing to hide the sadness that comes. But I think this latter interpretation doesn't really fit with the song in general at all, because there's really nothing positive about the exes mentioned in the song that would lead you to believe, apart from the swears, that she does actually want to stay with them. So I don't believe that's an accurate representation of what she's intending with the lyrics. And to be frankly honest, the idea that she is casually dropping all of her exes, that's like the entire point of the song, is that she doesn't want to be with her exes. So I don't think swears necessarily add anything to the former hypothesis, even if it might be true. Therefore, I believe that the swears used in Thank You Next are meaningless, and therefore should not be swears. Swears are sacred words that should be used accordingly. Alright. Cool. Don't know. I don't even remember why the hell. Oh, because I was talking about the music in this game. Because I started humming it, because I always do at the beginning of these streams. Amazing. Alright. Let's do it. I still can't believe what happened yesterday. It was terrible, the way those two treated you. Now, let's cut to the chase. I'm here to clean up your mess, Edgeworth. The committee hereby decrees that Prosecutor Edgeworth be relieved of his duties and replaced by Prosecutor Winner. Here ends the verdict. Judge Cavell and Mr. Winner certainly didn't mince their words, but that's not what concerns me right now. I'm more worried about the committee's reasons for doing what they did, and what they might do next. I suspect it won't be good. Earth to Mr. Edgeworth, are you listening to me? Yes, of course. So this is it? You're giving up at the Bronco Knight case? No, I have no intention of doing any such thing. To walk away from the case would be to tacitly accept the committee's decision. The only problem is that I don't have the authority to continue investigating. Yes, what is it, Detective? I've got some bad news, sir. We're down at the precinct is. They just arrested somebody for a night's murder. What? Do you know who it is? No, but I heard they're being held in the detention center. Maybe you could go talk to whoever it is. Good idea. Let's get down there, Mr. Edgeworth. Even without the authority to investigate, surely I can still pay a suspect an innocent visit. Alright, we're on our way. Me too. I'll see you there, sir. But won't you be missed, Detective? Nah, everyone's busy in the prison going over the crime scene anyway. Good. Then we'll see you shortly. Yes, sir. Come on, Kay. Let's go. You got it. Still no sign of them, huh? Indeed. Wait, this is just like last time. Please don't tempt fate like that. No, I can't. I just can't. Sure you can. I told you. It's just a pair of visitors. Sounds like someone really doesn't want to see us. No. Just talk with them, please. One of them's a prosecutor, right? Are they all super scary? All they do is stare at you, right into your soul. Ah, you must be the suspect in the... See, I told you! Okay, why is this man so flustered? Probably because you're being you. But I guess that's just how you are. Thanks for clearing up absolutely nothing. Hey, Mr. Suspect, you doing okay in there? We just want to have a little chat with you. No biggie, right? Who are you? I'm Kay Faraday, Mr. Edgeworth's trusty sidekick. It's just a part-time gig I'm doing while I take a break from my real job, though. Funny, I don't recall ever employing you. And that's Mr. Edgeworth. He is a prosecutor, but he's not going to stare a hole into your soul or anything. Oh, please. Really? Really? Anyway, can you first please tell us your name? It's Saint. Simeon Saint. Well, nice to meet you, Simeon. You can call me Kay. Everyone else does. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, I would like to ask you a few questions, if I may. Please, Simeon. We're trying to help you, I promise. Really? Thanks to Kay, it sounds like we might finally get some answers at least. Perhaps you could start by telling us a little about yourself.
Who, me? Why would anyone want to know anything about me? I'm boring. I'm nothing. I'm a nobody.
Do you have a job?
Oh, well, it's hardly worth mentioning, really.
I'm your average corporate pencil pusher, just like everybody else, honest. This is going to take a while. About you and Mr. Knight. And just when I thought we were making progress. Okay. So, Simeon, did you know Mr. Knight? Come on, you can tell me.
Blanket. Yeah, I knew him.
We were friends. Interesting. I wonder if he knew that Knight had been arrested. And, did you know Mr. Knight had been arrested? Yeah, I even came to visit him. He came to see Knight. I wonder when that would have been. And when was that, Simeon?
It was the day before yesterday, around lunchtime. I came as soon as I got the call from the cops.
The police called him? Why? How come the police called you? They said Bronco asked them to. That he needed a favor. A favor? Uh-huh. He wanted me to bring him his chess set. The pocket-sized one. So I went by his place, and then I came here. A chess set? A chess set? Is it just me, or is she getting better at stealing my thoughts? You do know everything you think is written all over your face, right, Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, I'm not a mind reader, just an expression reader. Amazing, right? Don't you just love having a sidekick as helpful as me? And have you read what my next move is going to be? I sure have. There's something you want to show Simeon. Indeed. Let's present it to him and see what he has to say about it. So, this chess set. Oh, that's the one I brought for Bronco. Well, that settles that at least. We, found it next to Mr. Knight. He always had to have a chessboard somewhere nearby. I'm not surprised he had it with him when he... Simeon, you and Mr. Knight, you're very close, weren't you? Yeah, we were best friends. At least I thought we were. But I guess I was wrong about that. What do you mean? If I knew him so well, why was it such a shock for me to find out he'd killed someone? It's not easy discovering that someone you're close to has committed a terrible crime. It's a very bitter pill to swallow indeed. How could it all end like this? I could never have imagined something so awful. Something's not right here, Mr. Edgeworth. There's just no way Simeon murdered Mr. Knight. Yes, he certainly doesn't seem to have an obvious motive. Then again, he wouldn't have been arrested for no reason either. I wonder what grounds they had for doing so. Why were you arrested, Mr. Saint? I just don't get it. Why won't he talk to me?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't.
Whoa, he answered you, Mr. Edgeworth. I guess he's not scared of you anymore. Thank goodness for small miracles. The cops burst into my house this morning, out of nowhere. And before I knew it, I was here. These policemen, was there a prosecutor with them?
Yes, it's a kid named the Winner or something.
The rookie, I thought as much. So, did they interrogate you yet?
I'm gonna be interrogated by the cops?
Well, yeah, I mean, you've been arrested. You're a suspect now.
No. Won't the detectives shout at me and threaten me and... they're always these hulking guys, right? Who get in your face and force you to...
Detective Dick comes, you're reporting for duty. See, I told you.
Please don't hurt me. Please don't crush me. It's huge arms.
No, please, I'm calling the cops. What's up with this guy, Mr. Edgeworth? Oh, nothing, detective. You're just being you. I guess just how you are. I don't get it, sir. Look, Mr. Edgeworth, Simeon is clearly innocent. So there's gotta be something we can do for him, isn't there? Mr. Saint.
Yes.
You were Mr. Knight's friend, and 2 days ago you came to visit him. You had nothing at all to do with his murder. Is my understanding correct? Yes, I didn't kill anybody. Very well. Then I will choose to believe you, and I will do all that I can to assist you.
Why would you help nobody like me?
Let's just say that I may not be doing it solely for your sake. I have something of a personal interest in this case. That's right, it's payback time. We'll show those two whose investigation reigns supreme. Oh yeah, now we're cooking. Unfortunately, I still lack the authority to conduct said investigation. As such, my resources are rather limited, and I'll need to lean heavily on the ones I do have at hand. Which means you, Mr. Saint. Your information will be invaluable going forward. In other words, let's see if we can't help one another out, shall we? Oh, I just thought of something. Why don't you just borrow an attorney's badge? Then you could represent our pal here. Now's not the time for jokes, Gummy. I mean, Mr. Edgeworth is a prosecutor. He couldn't defend anyone if his life depended on it. But I wasn't kidding. I just thought helping suspects, that's what a defense attorney does, you know? Sure, but we can do that too. The only thing that matters is that we find the real culprit in the end. So come on, let's get to work. Yes, ma'am. I'm sure you know already, but just to be clear, if our investigation ultimately proves you to be the culprit, we'll have no choice but to treat you like any other suspect. But you needn't worry. I believe you, or at least I have decided to try, for now. Just hold tight and try to believe in us in return. If nothing else, it might help you to feel a little less alone. Now, if you'll excuse me. So, we talked to a game in there, but we can't even get back inside the main prison to see the scene of the crime. Maybe defending the guy in court is our best bet after all. Gummy, how did you get Edgeworth's voice? Well, who do we have here? If it isn't Edgeworth and the gang, what are you cats doing here? Listen, pal, if you come to Mr. Edgeworth again, Hey, easy there, Detective Flatfoot Sholmes. I'm here to work. Work? Why, you're here to defend somebody? Whoa, the K-Meister nails it in one. Aren't you just the fiber intelligentes one of the bunch? Uber intelligentes? That's not fiber intelligentes, Fenter. Learn to read. Some may say I'm an easygoing old rogue about town, but I'm actually not a half-bad attorney. Which is why I've been summoned to the old Jailer-Rooney for a meeting with a new client. The suspect is one Simony Sainsbury. You mean Simeon Saint? Whoa, that's freaky. You know more about my job than I do. Wait, Mr. Edgeworth, Mr. Fender's a defense attorney. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I fear I might be. In fact, it could be our only option. Not so long ago, I found myself embroiled in another case that wasn't mine. I managed to worm my way into the crime scene by agreeing to be a certain someone's subordinate. Not an experience I ever wanted to repeat, but I fear I may have little choice. Fender, Before you say another word, I just gotta point out the fine print. Eddie Fender doesn't take on associates. Say it ain't so, I hear you protesting, but pompous prosecutors are a no-go. Especially those of the Von Karma variety. I should have known he wouldn't forgive me that easily. I understand why you wouldn't want to work with someone like me. What's more, I understand how you feel about all things Von Karma. But please believe me when I say, I'm not the man I was back then. I'm no longer under my old mentor's spell. You better believe it, pal. Mr. Edgeworth's a changed man. Sure, he used to be the deviant prosecutor, but he's not like that anymore. I do have feelings, Detective. Gummy's right. Mr. Edgeworth's one of the good guys now. He's not just a prosecutor, he's a hero. He got me off the hook just last month. You don't say. Well, that escalated quickly. But he was. There's no other word for it. He was heroic. Great thiefly, even. Please, Fender. Don't you think there's something odd about the way the committee stepped in yesterday? There's more to this case than meets the eye. I'm certain of it. I can't just walk away from this. I can't! Please, allow me to help you with this investigation. Sheesh. A bow from the great Miles Edgeworth. Never thought I'd see the day, but here we are. So enlighten me, if you will. What made the leopard change his spots? Well, I suppose I would have to say the courtroom itself. I've experienced so many things and met so many people there within its four walls, including some old friends who showed me a better way to be. How could that not change a person? Well, I'll be. The old you would never have bared his soul like that. That was beautiful. You might have even surprised you-know-who, and you know how much that takes. Tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start again with a clean slate. So, this is me. Edgeworth & Co. Law Offices. Eddie Fender, senior partner. Edgeworth? That's right. Mr. Fender here began his legal career as an assistant to my late father, Gregory Edgeworth. What? Your dad was a defense attorney? So the you-know-who Mr. Fender keeps talking about is... The clever K-Meister nails it in one yet again. That's right, I was talking about his old man. Guess you all noticed I kept his name over the door, so to speak. Least I could do for old Gregory, really. Listen, Edgeworth. Miles. I'm going level with you here. I don't trust you. Not fully, anyway. I can't just forget about all those years you spent licking Von Karma's boots, you know? Anyone can say they've changed. I'm gonna need you to prove it. And besides, you know it's what Gregory would have wanted. Very well, I accept. Okay, and that's enough hardball for one day. Let's move on to the fun stuff. I hereby appoint you interim associate of Edgeworth & Co. Congrats, man. I will try not to let you down. Well, doesn't this bring a cheer to the eye? The prodigal son coming on board at his late father's firm. Permission to come on board too, please, Mr. Fender? You don't even have to ask, kiddo. Welcome to the crew. Woohoo! Thanks, Captain. Alright, I guess it's time to go to work. So where to begin? Any bright ideas, Miles? Where were we when we were so rudely interrupted? Well, I guess it's safe to say that probably wasn't the victim. Indeed, it sounds more likely to have been the person who found his body. I believe we need to speak with the person who found the body. Just what I was thinking, eager associate. We do indeed. Still the type to smile and nod, I see. That will certainly make my life easier, boss. Now that that's decided, let's get going. What about me? I'm a detective. I can't just hop on board as an attorney's assistant like you guys. He has a point. I can't leave him adrift all on his own, now can I? Detective Gumshoe, I have a special assignment for you. You are to continue investigating the case under Mr. Witter, and if you happen to discover anything that seems useful, you are to notify me immediately. You are in a uniquely powerful position, detective, and I'm going to need all the info you can pass our way. You can count on me, sir. I'm a real pro when it comes to letting things slip to the defense. Trust me, I know, but just this once, those loose lips of yours might be what saves our ship. Or why the prison gates, good sirs, because here we come. So, any idea how we track down whoever found the Bronxer's body, Miles? I think our best bet would be to simply ask around. Oh, don't you dare! Who's this? Excuse me, but... Oh, my! Just look at you! Are you talking to me? Yes, fabulously chic, darling. Fabulously. Facial hair is still very en courant, don't you think? Enchanté, mademoiselle, and much obliged. Defense Attorney Eddie Fender at your service. Let's get things off the right foot, shall we? A little embarrasser, perhaps? Oh, I like the sound of that! Right on the kisser. Well, how else does one greet a new friend? A little smooch is entirely de rigueur, don't you think? Wow, talk about stealing a kiss! Indeed, an act so shameless it puts even great thieves to shame. Physical contact is so very important as a form of expression for our little family. Everyone in this lovely home will tell you as much. Hey, if everyone else is hip to that, I can be hip to that too, sure. Fifi Lagarde, by the way, warden of this charming abode. You may call me Fifi, of course. So she's the warden of the entire detention center and prison facility, is she? A pleasure to meet you, Miss Lagarde. Miles Edgeworth. I'm an associate with Mr. Fender's practice. I hope you don't mind me asking, but were you here in the prison yesterday? Oh, don't be silly, darling. Of course I was. Yesterday was a very important day, after all. Important in what way, exactly? A big meeting of some kind, perhaps? A meeting? Oh, heavens, no. I couldn't think of anything worse. No, yesterday the circus came to visit. It was a simply spectacular event featuring some terrifically talented animals. Anyone had to be there. If you were here at home, you were watching the show with me. The performer set up a special stage in the yard just for us. We are one very lucky family, n'est-ce pas? So she was at the circus performance for the inmates yesterday morning. Mr. Carcerado mentioned a show yesterday as well. He must have been talking about the same thing. What time did this show take place? From around 8 until 10, maybe? Yes, something like that. meaning it finished right around when the body was discovered. And by dint of having it ended the show, she has a reasonably solid alibi. Oh, would you look at the time? Sorry, darlings, but I really must dash. Feel free to explore our home. Mi casa, su casa, and all that. Ciao for now. Well, what now, Mr. Edgeworth? The person who found the body screamed, and that scream was heard by one inmate that we know of. Therefore, our first ask is to question this inmate and see where his information will take us next. About the person who found the body, do you happen to know where he is right now? Should be in one of the workshops, I guess. Usually is at this hour. And it seems the workshops are our next port of call. Hello? Anybody in there? Nice try, kiddo, but it isn't a bathroom stall. Yo, you there. Could you help us out there, my good man? Yes, sir. What can I do for you? Is somebody using this workshop right now? Yes, sir. One of the prisoners is in there. Just confirmed it myself during the noontime roll call. We'd like to speak to this prisoner, if that's all right. Sure, I'll go fetch him right now. Won't take a sec. This one's all yours, Mousy boy. What? Why? Let's just say I'd rather not roll the dice on someone I don't know, yeah? Huh, and I thought adults were all supposed to be strong and brave. Well, you're not looking so brave yourself right now, so let's call it even. Here they come. Hello, hello. Yes, hello. I hear you wish to speak with me. Not exactly the hardened criminal you were expecting, is he? My name is Miles Edgeworth. I'm a public prosecutor. A prosecutor, you say? Eddie Fender, attorney at law. What happened to being too scared to handle this? Listen, sorry about my pal here. He gets the weirdest ideas. Prosecutor indeed. That'll be the day. He's actually just an associate. Jeez, Miles, get a grip, will ya? Oh, he's right. I mustn't forget that I'm defense attorney's assistant for the time being. Ah, that explains it. I did think you looked a little different from the prosecutor I spoke with yesterday. So he's already spoken to Winner. Would you mind answering a few questions? No, of course not. I'd be delighted. The name saw it. Frank saw it. The witness is all yours, my young associate. Sure, have the intern do everything. Why not? Mr. Sott, you are no doubt aware that a murder took place yesterday. Would you mind telling us where you were at the time the body was found? Yes, I was in that workshop there, working as one might expect. What kind of work were you doing? Well, I'm actually retraining at the moment. I'm hoping to become a stylist, you see. A pet stylist, that is. Yes, so I've been studying hard and practicing every moment I can. An unusual field of study befitting an unusual prison, I suppose. And that's it. I certainly didn't see anything. Interesting. I barely asked him anything at all, and he's already sweating bullets. So, yes, I'm afraid I won't be able to help you. Sorry.
Hold it!
No, I'm the one who's sorry, Mr. Sott. For this interview has only just begun. I mean, even if you were to ask me, You know something, don't you? That's... He's definitely hiding something. I'll need to push him a little harder for him to get any answers. The first step is to analyze the situation. Let's take a look at our opponent. I didn't see anything. I really can't help you, I'm afraid. Something tells me he'd be a good poker player. It's hard to tell much at all from his face. And I don't think he'll be giving me much in the way of physical cues either. I'll have to rely solely on his words instead. That's the only way I'll know what's going on underneath. Alright, time to make my first move. Let's see who we're dealing with here. He may be good at hiding his emotions, but everyone has a tell. Mind chess comments! Tell me, what's your connection to this incident? Which incident? The murder? Oh, well, it has nothing at all to do with me. Nothing. Really? I wouldn't dream of getting involved in anything as ghastly as that. Well,
You see, how can I put this? Well, I like to think of myself as an upstanding citizen, a good person, if you will.
Forgive me, Mr. Sod, but under normal circumstances, good people do not tend to end up in prison.
That's...
So you do well to tell me what you know about the incident.
How many times do I have to tell you people? I don't know anything, I swear. Sorry, I don't know what more to say, but I can't help you.
My apologies, Mr. Sod. But considering that the incident occurred right here in the prison, I find it very hard to believe that you know nothing at all.
Oh, well, yes, I suppose I can see how it might seem unlikely, but it's true. If you're looking for the person who found the body, you'll have to look elsewhere.
Why do you think I'm looking for the person who found the body? I certainly never mentioned any such thing to you. Is it because you do know something you're not telling me after all?
No, I just sense that's who you might be looking for, that's all. I'm simply a pet stylist in training. I don't know anything, truly.
There's no doubt about it now. This man is hiding something big. In which case, let's find out what he did yesterday, the day of the incident. My opponent is very good at hiding his true feelings, but not for long. It's time to smash that mask of his and see what lurks behind that phony smile. Tell me about the day of the incident. If you really don't have anything to do with the murder, then you have nothing to hide, right?
Well, the day of the incident? Oh gosh, I mean, so much happened.
I want to know what you were doing, Mr. Sawit, in detail.
I told you, I'm a pet stylist in training. And that's what I was doing yesterday. Training. Specifically, I was giving the animals a trim.
You didn't notice any commotion at the time of the incident? I would imagine things were suddenly quite tumultuous around here.
Well, commotion, you say? No, not really. Maybe I heard someone, but...
You heard someone. Was this someone screaming by any chance? And don't try to tell me you don't remember. You continue to assert that you know nothing about the incident, Mr. Sawit, but I'm afraid I don't believe a word of it.
No, I thought I heard someone yelling, but I don't really remember.
The fact that he heard a scream at the time of the murder may well prove to be a useful clue. I would do well to bear it in mind. Tell me about the day of the incident. If you really don't have anything to do with the murder, then you have nothing to hide, right?
Well, the day of the incident? Oh gosh, I mean, so much happened.
What was it like here in the prison yesterday morning?
I really don't remember. I don't have the best memory, I'm afraid.
Time to deploy my clue. You don't remember. Please. You literally just confirmed that you heard a scream.
Oh, but I might have been mistaken. The truth is, I really don't remember.
Your memory fails you yet again. How convenient. But I know you're lying, Mr. Sawit.
How dare you talk to me like... I mean, I'm not lying. Look, if you must know, when I'm working with the animals and I get into the zone, they're all I see.
Am I to understand you have something of a talent for animal grooming then?
Well, my scissor technique could use a little work, but I'd say I'm quite good with the animals. They seem to like me. I'm especially good at calming them down when they get scared.
Scared? And when exactly do they get scared? Surely it doesn't happen very often.
Well, that's... No, thankfully it doesn't.
A loud scream would certainly frighten the animals, wouldn't it? Why are you going to such lengths to deny having heard the scream? What is it you're hiding, Mr. Sawit? Tell me.
Yeah, I can assure you I'm not hiding anything. I'll admit I did really hear somebody scream, but I'm not hiding anything. I promise.
The mask is finally beginning to crack. Now, to shatter it completely by asking about the scream itself in more detail. I'm afraid you're about to learn a painful lesson, Mr. Sot, that hiding things from me never ends well for my opponent. When did you hear this scream?
Oh, wait, now I remember. I forgot about the show. They put on a show for us prisoners around the time of the incident, you see. Yes, performing animals, if I remember rightly. That's where I was in the morning.
So now you wish to claim that you didn't hear a scream because you were at the show. You do realize that goes completely against everything you've told me so far.
And what are you going to do about it, huh? That is, my memory is patchy, as they say. The animal show really had to be seen to be believed.
It did it? Tell me, what kind of animals did you see?
Let me think. A whale?
Enough of your lies. You were nowhere near the show, were you?
Gah! Well, I seem to remember being there, but maybe I was, maybe I wasn't.
It's clear Mr. Sot wasn't at the show. This feels like a vital clue. Who did you hear screaming?
Wait, I just realized I made a mistake. When the incident happened, I was out in the yard. Yes. So, I didn't hear anyone screaming. No one at all.
Time to deploy my clue. How long are you planning to keep up these lies? I already know that you weren't at the show.
Gah!
The game's up, Mr. Sot. It's high time you told me the truth. I demand to know about the scream now.
I can't tell you what I don't know. I didn't hear any scream. Not from the person who found the body.
How curious. Most people would assume that the scream would come from the victim. So then, why do you think it came from the person who found the body,
Yeah! I made a mistake, that is all.
How, Mr. Sot? How did you know it was the person that found the body who screamed? Shall I tell you? You knew because it was you who found the body. And the scream that was heard when the incident occurred did come from the victim. It came from you!
Yeah! How did you... It's true. I admit it, but what gives you the right to treat people like this?
Checkmate. Now that we've established that you were the one who found the body, Mr. Sot, I believe you have lost any standing you might have had with your cooperation.
Alright, you win. But I'm sure I won't have anything useful to tell you. It probably isn't even worth your time.
That's not for you to decide. By my hand, the truth will be revealed. Every decision I make is to ensure that end.
Except, that's not exactly what we're here to do, is it?
What do you mean?
We're not trying to expose the truth.
We're trying to defend Simeon. Remember?
We worked to get our client out of trouble. Not as a prosecutor, but as a defense attorney's assistant.
What the K-Meister said. You need to listen to the kid more, you know? The client has requested the services of Edgeworth & Co. And as your old man always said, your relationship with your client comes before everything else. So if you think Mr. Saint's well-being is taking a backseat to some quest for the truth, well, let's just say I don't like to fire people, so I need you to fight against your instincts a little harder, yeah? This will take some getting used to. In any case, the importance of this man's testimony remains unchanged. Therefore, Mr. Sot, I'm asking once more, what happened when you found the body?
I was in that workshop there by myself, practicing what I had learned. I don't remember how, but I found myself in front of the door to the other workshop. I happened to peek in through the little window, and then I saw him lying there, a man, not moving, dead. I quailed in fright and found myself screaming in sheer terror.
Let me get this straight. The room you were in is next to the one where the corpse was found.
Yes, that's right. I was in workshop B.
And you were there the whole day?
Yes, from the 7 a.m. roll call onwards. There are 3 roll calls a day, you see. 7 a.m., noon, and 9 p.m.
And they check who's in the workshops during roll calls, correct?
That's right.
Nothing was reported to be amiss at 7 a.m., which means that Knight's body wasn't in the workshop yet at that point in time.
It took place after 7 a.m., which puts it right around the time the show was happening. Yes, the show. I remember the other prisoners going to see it.
And therefore, anybody who wasn't at the show has no alibi. Would that be a fair assessment, Mr. Sod?
I guess so, but I only found the body, I swear.
It's a clear contradiction, Mr. Sod's testimony. Rooting it out should be my first priority. Enough of these pathetic lies, Mr. Sod. I'm afraid you've rather lost sight of what you are.
What I am? I know precisely what I am. I'm a former newspaper salesman who's trained to be a pet stylist.
But that's not all you are, is it? Or did you forget the bracelet you wear around your wrist? A bracelet that marks you as a prisoner and therefore unable to move around as you please. As you both know, stepping outside that door would have sounded an alarm.
Well, that's...
But there's no way you could have looked into the other workshop without leaving the room you were in.
Gah!
Ooh-wee, stylishly done, Drew. But doesn't this mean that Mr. Sod couldn't have found the body then? Good question, Kay. Perhaps Mr. Sod himself can explain.
So actually, I may have forgotten to mention one very important detail. Sorry about that. I can explain exactly how I was able to see the body if you'd like.
By all means, go ahead.
There's a little trick we prisoners know about, you see. As long as you leave your bracelet inside the door, you could lean out without triggering the alarm. That's how I was able to peek through the window and into the workshop next door. Instead, I spotted the victim's dead body, which made me scream in fright.
So he's saying... he was able to take a look next door because he had kept his arm inside workshop B as he leaned out.
Please don't tell anyone about our little trick, especially not the guards. Please?
Is this it? Is that all he was hiding? I better dig a little deeper into his testimony, just in case.
Hold it!
Why did you make so much of an effort just to take a look?
Well, you see, I heard noises coming from next door. And that room was supposed to be empty, so I thought it was strange.
And you went to look as soon as you heard those noises?
Yes, of course. I had to see what was going on, so I went right away.
I see. Are there any problems with what Mr. Sod just said? You claim that you looked into the next room as soon as you heard some noise. If that's the case, you must have seen more than just a dead body. Because the person who made the noises should have been in there too.
You've got him quaking in his boots, Mr. Edgeworth.
Mr. Sod, tell us the truth about what you saw. You do, of course, have the right to remain silent, but it will do little to dispel the notion that you were somehow involved in this crime.
I'm sorry. I did see something else, but it's too insane to believe. I really thought I might have dreamt it. That's why I wasn't sure if I should mention it.
Just tell us what you saw.
All right. It was that dog. And what I saw is the stuff of nightmares. That huge black dog had sunk its terrible teeth into the victim's throat.
What did you just say?
It was hellish. Utterly hellish. That beast, that awful beast, he killed him. Suddenly I don't feel so good.
Jeepers creepers. That's awful. Talk about traumatizing.
It was dreadful, horrible. Now you know why I couldn't help but scream.
So there's a man-eating dog in the prison's animal population, is there?
And that really is everything, I promise. You believe me, don't you? For now, this one seems too far-fetched to lie, even for you. I'd like you to append what you just told us to your testimony, if you don't mind. Very well. Inside, I spotted the victim's dead body, which made me scream in fright. I also saw that black dog, his mouth clamped tight around the man's throat. You're sure this black dog was biting the victim's throat? Yes, there was blood everywhere. The beast's mouth was dripping with it, and... Whoa. Spare us the gory details, will ya? What about the victim? Was he... Eee! Don't say it! You really need to ask him that, Mr. Edgeworth? Okay, what was that punch for? I'm on your side here. He wasn't moving at all. He was just lying there. Meaning he was already dead. There was so much blood just oozing from his neck. Oh, he was dead as a doornail, I'm sure of that. Not even the twitch of a finger. Just lifeless. Eee! Enough already. Why do you have to go in every little detail like that? Give you a nice and accurate testimony. That is what you want, isn't it? Shall I add what I've said to my testimony, Mr. Edgeworth? Please do. It was awful, I tell you. Terrible. Oh, he was dead as a doornail, I'm sure of that. Not even the twitch of a finger. Just lifeless. I remember seeing his ring gleaming as it cut the light. It featured a stoat motif in relief.
Objection!
A ring with a snowflake relief? Yes, I saw it clear as day. It was carved in the fine detail. Interesting. Your testimony is certainly very accurate. In fact, I'd say it's just a little too accurate. And what's wrong with being too accurate? I mean this. You testified to having seen a ring with a snowflake design on it. And while the victim did indeed have a ring on his finger... See? Exactly as I said. There is no way you could have seen it. Take a look at this photograph. As you can see, the victim's right hand was covered by a tarp. It would have been impossible for you to see his ring, let alone what design was on it. Unless, that is, you approached the body and removed the sheet. You told us earlier you only took a look through the window and the door. Yet you seem to have seen quite a lot from such a disadvantaged location, Mr. Sot. Who the heck do you think you are, huh? Mr. Big Shot acting like you know it all? I mean, I saw what I saw, I swear. Oh, I know. The man's arm. It must have moved under the tarp after I peeked in. Nonsense. You already told us that can't have been the case. He wasn't moving at all. He was just lying there. Meaning he was already dead. You said it yourself that the victim was already dead. And dead men don't move, do they? Ooh, is that the stench of ode to desperation I smell? What are you hiding, Mr. Solix? Tell us! No, You're wrong. I know what I saw. Wah! You couldn't let it go, could you? How to keep on poking and prodding? You slimy two-bit associate attorney! It seems the real Mr. Sod has finally revealed himself. Well, that's quite the rug he was rocking. Came straight at you like some kind of flying black cat. Look, I'm just a sweet innocent witness here. But are you really? Because I must say I have doubts. Very serious doubts. What's that supposed to mean? You saw something that should have been impossible to see from outside the workshop. So, how did you do it? That's simple. Mr. Sot, this is where you were standing when you saw the body.
Take that!
You were in the same room as the body. That's the only way you could have seen the relief on the ring. Say what you want, but you don't have a shred of evidence, do you? Nothing to prove I was in the room with the body, anyway. You can't prove it, can you? Because I was in the next room over. Minding my own business and looking after the animals. Why else would I have signed a pair of rubber gloves? For fun? Now put up or shut up. I want to see evidence that proves I was in that room with the body.
Take that!
Remind me, Mr. Sabat, what were you doing when you discovered the body? How many times do I was practicing my pet styling techniques. Of course. Then perhaps this rubber glove might mean something to you. That's... This glove was found by the victim's body. I believe it was dropped by the killer. And I can't help but notice that you have a similar glove tucked into your apron. No, this one's different.
Hold it.
Yes, that one does seem awfully lovely,
It's just a rubber glove. There are 100 of them all over the prison. This doesn't prove anything.
Objection.
Not yet, perhaps, but if I were to ask the police to check this glove for prints, I have a feeling the results would be rather fascinating. It's over.
Objection.
What the?
That was a pretty rad objection, am I right?
Please, Fender, now is not the time for tomfoolery. But I have a legit objection, because this isn't over. There's something that still doesn't make sense. Our man here's a prisoner, right? And he's got one of those bracelet doohickeys on.
That's true. So how could he have left his workshop in the first place? His bracelet would have triggered the alarm if he tried.
Right, we don't have a good explanation for that yet. Well, anything you'd like to share, good buddy. We're all friends here. That's weird. He should be dining onto that bracelet like the big round lifesaver it is.
In what way?
As in, it's the best hope our wig-flinging friend here has for getting off the hook for murder. Sorry, can't get into the crimes you with the bracelet on. If it was me, I'd be arguing that for my life. Yet he hasn't said a peep about it. I wonder why that might be, The sound of silence. I suppose Ms. Law Priestess did preach that silence is golden yesterday, too.
Whoa, you sound like an actual attorney for a second there, Mr. Fender.
The worst of times are when lawyers calmly show our biggest smiles. Gregory taught me that. It was part of the attorney's code he lived by. So, friend, what's the dealio? Why so coy about your bracelet?
Well, to tell you the truth, it's broken.
Broken.
I fell over a little while back, you see, and hit it on the floor. After that, it didn't seem to set the sensors off anymore. I should have told the guards about it, I know, but, well, it was awfully convenient.
I see. So your bracelet is broken. But do they really break that easily? If so, then this prison has a serious security problem. You there. Could we have a moment? Aw, aren't you just the cutest? Ahem! Meow! How can I help you, sir? This prisoner's bracelet appears to be broken. What? Really? That's not good. I'll get someone to find a replacement right away. Thank you. We'll keep hold of the broken one for the time being. Of course, sir. I trust you'll take good care of it. Sweet. Bracelet sorted. Now to turn our murderer in, yeah?
What? No, I didn't kill anybody.
Whoa there, Palio. You were the one who said your bracelet was out of commission. Or were there other inmates freely roaming the halls while everybody was busy watching the show?
No, I just found the body, and that's all I promise. And when I did, that enormous dog still had his mouth wrapped around the poor man's neck. I only went into the workshop after the beast had left.
And why did you go in?
Well, well, fine, I wanted to go through his pockets, okay?
He was going to rob the corpse. That explains why he remembers Knight's ring in so much detail.
Hey, why are you looking at me like that? I'm a great thief. I never stoop so low as to steal from a... Well, I didn't steal anything either. The show ended just after I'd entered the room, and all the other inmates came trickling downstairs thereafter. I panicked, rushed back to the other workshop, and started my fake screaming.
And dropped the glove in your haste, huh? I guess this is all just about hangs together. Anything smell funny to you, Miles? Other than whether Mr. Sod is the one who did it, I'd say one very significant question still remains. The question of how Knight made it into the prison proper from his holding cell in the detention center. Ooh, yeah, that one's a doozy. I also can't help but wonder about another key feature of Mr. Sod's testimony. That dog's involvement can only mean one thing. Mr. Sod. Yeah, were you the only prisoner who didn't go to watch the show?
Well, no, there was one other who didn't.
Am I right in thinking that this person couldn't have watched the show even if he'd wanted to?
Yes, how did you?
I knew it. I had my suspicions when we first ran into that black dog yesterday, but this confirms it. For a criminal that dangerous to end up in a place like this is unbelievable, but where's that person's cell?
You're going to see him? Who are we talking about here? Him. He's not like the other prisoners, you know. He's special, gets treated like royalty. But you didn't hear that from me. All I'll say is, if you value your life, you'll stay well away from him. What? Will you please stop trying to scare us all the time? The big cheese, huh? Well, I for one definitely value my life, so that sucks. They keep him in maximum security. Which is over there. Maximum security. Well, that's certainly one way of treating someone differently. Alright, quit being so mysterious and tell us where he is already. Let's just say he's highly skilled when it comes to people's lives. Better than anyone, in fact. And, that's all I'm prepared to say on the subject. In fact, I may have already said too much. Well, Mousy, anything you came to share? Or are you gonna leave K&I in the dark here, too? The mystery man in maximum security is an old acquaintance. Let's go pay him a visit. I suspect we'll find our dark canine friend there, too. Whoa, it's pitch black in there. I can't see a thing. But didn't you say the Agarasu takes flight even in the dead of night or something? Even in the depths of night, when no other bird dares to take flight. One alone soars to shine the light of righteousness on the world's blight. And that one is me, for I am the great thief Yatagarasu. Whoa, you're one powerful performer. Thanks, but that doesn't help me see in the dark. I'm a human, not a three-legged raven. Eee! Mr. Edgeworth. That voice. I knew it. It has been far too long. You remember me? I could hardly forget now, could I? After all, you are the one who put me away. Mr. Edgeworth? Are you talking to that dog? Or is there someone else in there? Still can't see a dang thing. Oh, but I'm forgetting myself. Forgive me, I do not often receive visitors. One moment, I will turn on the lights. You are a heavy-footed lot. Am I right in thinking there are 3 of you in all? Very well. Perhaps we should start by introducing ourselves. I am Bodhidharma Canis. As you may have gathered, Mr. Edgeworth and I are old acquaintances. Canis was a notorious assassin. Some knew him as the Blind Butcher. His only weapons were a vicious hunting hound and a fearsomely sharp knife. His appearance was always announced by the sound of bells, the last sound his victims would ever hear. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, am I to guess why you have come to see me? You know why I'm here. In fact, I'm willing to bet you know every detail of this sordid little affair already. Then I suppose we have nothing to hide from one another. Your faithful canine friend is currently the chief suspect in a murder investigation. The person who found the body saw a dog with its mouth around the victim's throat. Your witness is mistaken. Helmut is a gentle soul. He is my eyes, nothing more. It is absurd to think that he would do such a thing. Isn't it, boy? Yes, it is. You're a good boy, aren't you? Helmut is more than a mere seeing eye dog, and he's certainly no good boy. He's also a trained killer. A weapon once used in this man's sordid trade. This witness of yours, he is trustworthy, I assume? Saw it as anything but trustworthy, and he's still very much a suspect himself. I can hardly claim that its testimony is beyond reproach. No then, I thought as much. Yes, I did, Helmut, yes. It figures he already knew who our witness is. What were you doing between 8 and 10 a.m. yesterday morning, Mr. Canis? During the show, you mean? I was here, ensconced in these humble surroundings. I've developed a passion for wood carving, you see, an obsession even, I was engrossed in it all morning.
And you have permission to engage in such a hobby? I can't believe someone would actually let you.
The warden and I have an understanding.
An understanding?
It's ridiculous. This man shouldn't be allowed one, let alone 5 chisels. There are nothing but lethal weapons in his hands. I was carving Buddhist pieces at first, but by the 674th, my interest had begun to wane. Whoa, that must have taken forever. Time is all I have, child. In any case, my focus has now shifted to pieces such as these.
I didn't know you played chess.
You play too, do you not, prosecutor? Perhaps one day you might indulge me. Though you may find my game rather rudimentary. I only began after my arrival here, I am afraid.
What's that piece? A dog with 3 heads?
Ah yes, the dogs of war. You must forgive my little joke. Chess is after all a game of war. Soldiers, knights, castles, all doing their utmost to protect the king, all loyal to the last. I have always thought it strange that such a game has no place for a dog. After all, what more loyal weapon could an army call upon? Still, it's simply a piece I made for fun. Fear not, I play by the regular rules, and with the regular pieces.
I can't imagine it's easy finding opponents to play here in prison, though.
Oh, I have my correspondence.
Correspondence chess, then.
Sharing moves by post. Yes, even prisoners are allowed to send and receive letters. Their contents are inspected, of course. Although I have yet to receive the details of my current opponent's next move.
Sounds like this current opponent isn't a resident here. I suppose you know the identity of the deceased, Mr. Connus.
His name was Bronco Knight, was it not? Poor unfortunate soul.
You keep your ear to the ground.
My ears are all I have, Mr. Edgeworth.
Why am I not surprised that he's plugged into the prison information network?
But perhaps he was not so unfortunate after all.
What do you mean?
Mr. Knight's crime was a grave one, a crime for which he would have been made to pay dearly anyway. The attempted assassination of a president. That is no small matter.
Attempted assassination?
Wait, Mr. Edgeworth, did Mr. Knight...
Yes, we proved that he murdered his team leader, and that there was no attempt on the president's life. Could it be? Are they attempting to cover up President Wong's fake assassination scheme?
Whoa there, cowboy. You're saying the Bronxer didn't actually have a pop at the prez? I was hired to defend him on the charge of attempted murder. You mean you don't know what really happened? So what? They just blamed the whole assassination thing on Mr. Knight?
It would explain why the committee was so keen to get involved.
Of course! They took you off the case to try and keep you away.
And swapped in that Wiener kid to push through an attempted murder charge.
In other words, they're trying to cover up the truth.
So they really were trying to frame him.
According to the guards, this Knight, was it? They tell me he was violently insistent that he had attempted no assassination,
which would have come out anyway when the case went to trial.
I am no expert in legal matters, but allow me to say this one thing. I know for a certainty that he would not have been the first inmate in prison on false pretenses. Ugh, an uncomfortable fact, but a fact nonetheless. Yes, Helmut, yes it is, yes. The courtroom is not always the bastion of truth you believe it to be, Mr. Edgeworth.
No bastion of truth, huh?
I've heard something to that effect before.
Yes, from a certain Interpol agent who doesn't have much faith in prosecutors.
You're not twisting the truth behind those closed courtroom doors too, are you? Fueled by that kind of thinking, is it any wonder that courts produce nothing but falsities and lies? Sorry, but the truth doesn't need the likes of you to distort it today.
I never was able to fully dispel his mistrust of prosecutors.
Even Helmut understands. Don't you, Helmut? Yes, you do. The truth's revealed in court in your deductions. It is dangerous to trust either implicitly. Ugh. But I'm not bitter. You are not the first to make me a subject of unfounded suspicions in recent days. In fact, I was visited by another prosecutor only yesterday. He was accompanied by a judge. They even dragged the warden-in-law. Her distakes for me lingering unspoken in the air. Not those two again. Prosecutor Winter and Judge Cavell. They went over my cell with a fine-tooth comb, but they left completely empty-handed. They were looking for the murder weapon, I believe, to no avail, but they mustn't take it personally. Rumor has it that they searched every cell in the prison, and still failed to find what they are looking for. I pray they weren't too disappointed. Heh. Well, that posed more questions than it answered. What do we do now? Salvat's testimony is heavily flimsy at best. I'll need more proper evidence I want to con us on. Well, I think that's quite enough chit-chat for one day. Helmet will show you out. Good boy, Helmet. Go on now. He's not showing us out permanently, right? Well, let's get out of here. Come on. Until next time, Mr. Connors. It does pain me that our brief time must end, just as we are becoming reacquainted. I await your return, Mr. Edgeworth. Now, to gather the evidence I need to bolster my case. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth! That's the best hiding spot she could find. It's alright, Kay. You can come down now. Where's Fender? He ran off somewhere. I had no idea he could move that fast. Fender. So, what do we do now? You and I will continue the investigation, and I know just where to start. By solving that one particular mystery that's been dogging us this whole time. Knight's body was found in one of the prison workshops. But he was presumably being detained in one of the detention center's holding cells. So how did he wind up on the other side of those heavy security doors? Let's start by investigating the holding cells. Hey, Mr. Knight's room, right? But, what about Mr. Fender? I'm sure he'll find us when he's ready. Sure, but he is kind of our boss, isn't he? Oh well. The victim cell is just over there. Lead the way, Mr. Edgeworth. I've just about had it. Who's that? Warden Lagarde. She must have come from the corridor marked no entry. You're still not talking, ma'am? Even with the evidence you borrowed from the precinct? No, and I've tried so many times I've lost count. What am I supposed to do? I can't send in a Blake report. I guess a killer for hire was always going to be a tough nut to crack. Killer for hire. Oh! I couldn't help overhearing one, Lagarde, but what are you just talking about at our Armaconis? My, you were listening. How very gosh of you. The girl's privacy is her armor, you know. Do you normally conduct interrogations of the man yourself? Oh, it's not just him, darling. I try to have the occasional tete-a-tete with everyone, you see. What's what it means to be a member of the family in this little home of ours? There's a person who hasn't made the pilgrimage to my office at least once. Your office? How sweet. He's angling for an invite. Well, I suppose it is the hottest ticket in town. It's down this corridor here, darling. But if I don't let just anybody wander in willy-nilly. Let's see, that will put it right around here. Hee. It's a wonderful room if I do say so myself. All my guests rave about it. And who wouldn't want a view of my fabulous garden in the yard? Ooh la la! The yard? If it's anything like the rest of the place, it's probably full of adorable animals, right? Can I see? Oh, darling, it's so sweet of you to take an interest, but I'm afraid that's just not possible. Why not? Because you're not a member of our home. If you want to see it that badly, you'll just have to get convicted for doing something unspeakable. That's a rather steep price to pay. Oh, but just listen to me, chatting away like there's no tomorrow. It's time for Allie's brunch. The poor dear will be dying. Allie, the sweetest little dear in all the world. I know I shouldn't have favorites, but you know how it is. Now to the yard with me. Ciao for now, darlings. I wanted to ask her more about Connors, but she dominated that conversation from start to finish. Let's go investigate the victim's cell, shall we? So this is Knight's cell. When do you think he was brought in, Mr. Edgeworth?
It would had to have been the evening of the 25th, just before the events at the lake. And then, at some point, he wound up in the prison proper. But how? There must be some evidence here that will point us in the right direction. Alright, let's get going, Mr. Edgeworth. I must scour the scene, blah, blah, blah. There's something different about this spot here.
This part of the floor is weirdly clean. Did somebody wipe it all down or something?
Why would somebody only do that to the part right next to the bed?
Hey look, this newspaper's got a chunk of it missing.
You're right. A few of his pages have been roughly torn out. But why?
Maybe Mr. Knight wanted to clean his cell, didn't have the chance to do so?
It's not totally a possible theory, I suppose, but... oh boy. This part of the floor has been wiped clean.
Maybe he spilled some grape juice.
Who knows? But we can certainly imagine what he uses to do the wiping. The torn up pages of that newspaper.
Why wouldn't you just ask the guard for a cloth or something, though?
Perhaps he didn't want anyone to see what he was wiping up. Reflected in the mirrors.
A security camera. A great thief's greatest enemy. Nothing about this place is very thief-friendly, if I'm being honest.
I think that might be the entirely deliberate, Kay. Guard. I'd like you to retrieve the footage from the security camera and view it as carefully as you can. If you see anything out of the ordinary, inform me immediately. Yes, sir.
Hey, look at this weird piece of paper.
There's some sort of game out. Let's take a closer look. Could this be wrong?
Eureka!
This chess game. I've seen it before.
Enough with the chess challenge, Treasurer. We're supposed to be investigating through here. Focus.
I am investigating. This particular bit of chess check could prove to be vital. Now, take a look at this. Can you tell me what it is?
It's the chess set we saw Mr. Countess sell. But I don't really know the rules of chess, so...
The rules of the game aren't important here. What is important are the positions of the pieces.
Compare the ones Mr. Knight's outfit with these.
Aren't they resembling each other?
I don't know which piece of which are anything, but if you turn the diagram like this, there are pieces in the same squares.
Indeed. There's no dog in the diagram, but that's to be expected. Apart from that, however, the positions of the pieces are identical.
And what does that tell us?
Oh, I have my correspondence. As long as it may seem, Mr. Cronus' chess opponent is
Mr. Knight.
This could be just the proof we need to show that Mr. Cronus had a connection to the victim. I'm very good. I almost fell asleep. I'm sorry. Hey, it's a live dub, okay? I'm trying to make it professional.
Oh my god, I forgot how long these sections are. This case is like 4 sections, but it's so long.
Oh my god. I think like I'm pretty sure there's like a decent amount more to this section too, because we're gonna analyze the footage and like, god damn, just like wow. Is there like a testimony with the best or something? I don't even know. Hmm. Oh my god, I'm so tired. I'm gonna take a very, very small break. Okay. Let's get back to it. I guess I'll voice these lines. Why the hell not? I think we've about exhausted the cell. We've made significant progress by establishing a connection between Mr. Connors and the victim. Oh, this is bad, sir. Is that the guard? The security camera footage, sir. I watched it and... Actually, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. Jesus Christ. I am way too tired to do that voice. I watched it and... What is it? Can you show it to us? Yes, sir. I have a small playback monitor with me. Okay, we're caught up now. Cool. There. Then what are you waiting for? Let's see it. Was that?
That black thing, it's that dog, right?
Until now, our assumption was that the crime had taken place inside the prison proper. But it seems that assumption may have been wrong. Knight had actually been attacked in this location. Do I really need to point it out like this? Right here in the detention center. And the perpetrator was indeed Mr. Connors' dog. This is just the evidence we need. And if this is where Knight was actually murdered, then one of the pieces of evidence we found here in his cell takes on a whole new meaning. If Knight's cell was the crime scene, which piece of evidence takes on a new significance?
Take that!
The floor of Knight's cell was wiped clean, presumably to remove something. Could that something have been his blood? Thank you, officer. Would you mind doing me one more favor? Name it, sir. There's a detective by the name of Gumshoe somewhere in this facility. I need you to give him a message. Tell him to have this cell tested for traces of blood and to report the results to Edgeworth.
You got it, sir.
I shouldn't have given the Gumshoe, whatever.
Now I can really go after that Connors guy, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
No, not yet. We still don't know how Knight and the dog moved between his cell and the prison proper.
Right, so that's what we need to figure out next. What's the play, coach? Where are we off to?
I suspect one of the guards might know something. We should ask those posted nearby and see what they have to tell us.
Okay, time to get asking, huh?
Thanks for the tour. Later. Well, Mr. Prosecutor and his little friend. I didn't expect to run into you here. Must be my lucky day. This is Agent Shilong Lang of Interpol. He was in charge of a case I worked on 2 weeks back. I thought he had gone home to Jungfa after that, but here he is. You had some business to take care of, I take it, Agent Lang.
You could say that. Nothing that need concern you, though. Hee, first the black owl, now a wolf in all black. Hey, wait, why are you all alone today?
That's true. He's usually accompanied by an army of police officers. I hear you were at it again a couple of days back, sticking your nose into things. A couple of days back? He means the incident with the president of Jungfa. Actually, I had thought you might be there as well, heading up the security detail. Our president doesn't have much faith in the efficacy of his own country's police force. Maybe now we'll think twice before using contractors again. Amateurs. Agent Lang doesn't have much faith in prosecutors or the courts to do their jobs, right? Which is why he's so meticulous about investigating with his hand-picked cream of the crop officers. Indeed, no doubt things would have turned out differently had you and your men been in charge. My men, huh? Yeah, those guys aren't around anymore. What? They're not? It's funny, isn't it? I'm a real lone wolf now. What are you saying, Agent Lang? What on earth happened? I told you, it doesn't concern you. See you around, Mr. Prosecutor.
Wow, he seemed not okay.
Yes, and I would very much like to know why, but there's nothing we can do about it right now. We'll worry about Agent Lang later. We have an investigation to conduct.
Alright, let's start by talking to these guards.
Oh man, I am in so much trouble. What's the matter? You seem perturbed. Oh, well you see, one of my uniforms is missing. I could have sworn it was right here in my locker.
Did it grow a pair of legs and run off somewhere?
Where in the world did that idea spring from?
Anyway, I hope you track it down soon. I'll be rooting for you.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I was wondering, have you seen an enormous black dog wandering around here recently? That thing? No way! If I had, I'd... Well, let's just say I'd be a lot more nervous about standing guard here.
So, do you and this dog have some kind of history or something?
Now, Kay, you should know when to let sleeping dogs lie. By the sound of it, Agnes's dog hasn't been spotted on this side of those heavy security doors. Hey, are those my faithful assistants I see before me? He's in frame! He's literally there! Fender, and where exactly have you been? Where have I been? I was literally the other side of the screen! I've been searching high and low, searching for you two. Wandering lonely through the prison halls, it was terrible, I tell you.
But the prison's over there on the other side of the facility, boss.
So listen, I just got the lowdown on some seriously dynamite material. You want to hear it, right? Right? Seamless. I was chatting with a few of the guards, and they told me something très interessant. Turns out the Bronxer had himself a little incident 2 days ago. Pre-mortem, if you catch my drift. An incident. Simeon told you he came to visit his pal, right? Well, it happened right after they'd wrapped up, when Bronco was being escorted back to his cell. It was just one guard and he was handcuffed, obs. They made it back and the guard was taking off his cuffs when the Bronxer clobbered him, knocked the poor guy out cold. Sounds like it might have been the prelude to a jailbreak. Because when the other guards showed up, they couldn't find their comrades' keys. Were there any rumblings at night attempting an escape? That's the bit that fries the old noggin. There were none. He just sat in his cell, then turned up dead. And what's more, he swore right to the end that he never stole the keys. They turned his cell inside out too, but no dice. The guard who was struck, what did he have to say? Nothing. Poor guy was still out when they took him to the hospital. Word is he's still there. So there's nobody around to tell us what really happened. What the? It's you losers! That's all we need. Why are you still hanging around here like a bad smell? Hey there, little buddy. Listen, Miles here is working with me now as an associate. Nonsense! You're all just here to cause trouble and turn my investigation into a fart! Useless means farce, of course. A simple slip of the tongue. Seemed like a reasonably apt choice of words to me. Judge Gavel, great to see you again. I know who you are. You are Simeon Saint's attorney. Guilty as charged. Now that we've broken the ice, how about a friendly... Oh, not. I'm totally cool either way. Now, did I hear you correctly that Mr. Edgeworth has joined the defense team?
Yep, and me too. We're officially employees of Edgeworth & Co.
But a prosecutor is a public servant. You would draw your sword on the goddess to work for personal gain. It's not a problem if I'm not getting paid, though, correct? Exactly. What he said. Miles here's just a volunteer. We're all about the pro bono stuff over at Edgeworth & Co. How wonderful. So you all work without reward. The goddess would surely approve. Yeah. I'm a regular philanthropist. Judge Gavel, I was hoping to ask about the grounds for Simeon Saint's arrest. That information is on a need. Is that a challenge I hear? No, I was just asking Judge Gavel. I'm always ready for a little verbal combat to show you what it takes to be a real winner. How is it verbal combat if you won't let me speak? Still, this could prove useful. Fine, we'll do as you suggest. Now, if you could begin by telling us why Mr. Saint was arrested. There will be no need for that. Eustace, we should... Ha. Not now, Gavel. Watch and wonder. As I put this pathetic prosecutor in his place, he's going to run rings around me. I think you mean to say that you would be the one running rings around me? And I will, so badly that your ears will be ringing. Prepare to be humbled, Edgeworth. You want to know why I arrested that man? It's simple. Simple! I found evidence. Evidence of him all over that thing.
How's that for some winningly conclusive proof? And who saw the truth first? Why, me, of course. Winner by name, winner by nature. Where do I even begin? Look at you, utterly lost for words in the face of such mastery. I'll take your silence as yet another win. Honestly, does he ever shut up? You said that you were the one who arrested Mr. Saint. But do you even have the authority to do so, Mr. Winner? Well, obviously, it was the police who actually arrested him. But I told them to do it, so I think I can claim the credit, don't you? Of course that's what he meant. This is clearly going to take a while. A shame, really. Given that I'm much more interested in what Judge Gavelle is silently thinking over there.
Hold it!
Evidence of him was all over that thing. Could you be a little more specific, Mr. Winner? Do I really have to spell it out for you, Edgeworth? I hoped even you could put 2 and 2 together. Stop messing around. The onus is on you to provide a comprehensible testimony. Come now, Eustace. I'm sure Mr. Edgeworth and his friends would be very interested to learn how you cracked the case. They certainly look keen to hear about it. Fine, if you insist, I'll fill in the gaps. Brace yourselves, because this is going to blow your tiny little minds. And I bet you didn't even know, but the victim had, wait for it, a chess set with him. And that chess set was covered in the fingerprints of a certain Mr. Simeon Saint. Praise be to the goddess of justice for the insight she offers, and congratulations once again, Eustace. You would not object to Eustace amending his testimony, I trust, Mr. Edgeworth? No, by all means, please do. Mr. Saint's fingerprints were right there, all over the victim's chess set.
Objection!
So the fingerprints of the chess set are the ace up your sleeve. The what's up my what? Oh, yes, the chess set up the ace's sleeve. That's right, Edgeworth. I've got a winning hand as usual. Only your winning hand is a busted flush. For you see, it was Simeon Saint who brought that chess set to the victim in the first place. Therefore, it's only natural that his fingerprints are all over it. Ah! That took a while to sink in. In conclusion, those fingerprints aren't proof of anything, and Mr. Saint's arrest was premature. Premature? The incident took place here within the walls of this facility. And being neither a guard nor a prisoner, it makes very little sense to suspect Mr. Saint. Oh! Now what? I think you might be the premature one here, Edgeworth. And I think you were the one accusing me of being hasty. Did you only just work out what that word means? Sure, I identified Mr. Saint as a suspect faster than pretty much anybody else. And I won the race when it came to picking out the crucial evidence, too. I'm quick in the draw, you see. But hasty, not at all. You're right that Mr. Saint isn't a guard or a prisoner here, but he was...
Overruled!
Eustace. Judge Gavelle. But out, Gavelle! I have him right where I want him! Forgive me, Eustace, but if I may, while the particulars of the suspect are indeed fascinating, don't we have something a little more impressive to share with the prosecutor? Something more impressive? If you wouldn't mind, Mr. Edgeworth. Eustace made an ingenious deduction concerning the murder weapon. Perhaps you would like to hear it. Yes, of course, that. Well remembered, Gavelle. Listen to this, Edgeworth, and prepare to be amazed.
Objection!
Will this ingenious deduction explain why Mr. Saint was arrested? Let's just say you won't be disappointed. Judge Gavelle deliberately diverted the conversation away from my line of questioning. What exactly is she up to? Fact 1. The murder weapon was some sort of metal blade. Fact 2. Potentially deadly blades are strictly controlled within the prison walls, as we both know. From these two facts, I concluded that the weapon in question must have come from outside. It must have been hidden inside the chess set. That's what I think, anyway. And since the only prints we found on the chess set belonged to the victim and the suspect, I'd say it's blindingly obvious who brought the weapon in and used it, wouldn't you? If nothing else, this testimony this time is a little more comprehensible than the last. Another winning deduction brought to you by one winner Eustace, prosecutor extraordinaire. More like one winner useless prosecutor extraordinaire, if you ask me. How could anyone even hide a weapon inside that chest set? Yeah, good question. Why don't you take a look for yourselves?
Inside the chessboard? I suppose there's only one way to find out. There's nothing in here but chess pieces. Yeah, that laugh is really something. He seems pretty convinced the weapon was hidden in here somewhere. I better take a closer look. What? The stiff lining at the top opens a flap door. Whoa, there's plenty of room in there. Indeed, more than enough to hide something like a small knife. Ingenious, no? The killer stuck the weapon in by... Ha! Ha? What do you mean, ha? Let me finish, will you? I fear you've not been listening, Mr. Winner. Or perhaps you've simply forgotten. The detention center is outfitted with a security gate. Huh? I mean, yeah, and... The security gate also acts as a metal detector, Eustace. We must pass through another one on the way into the prison itself, remember? Aha! Yes, that's right. Of course I remember. He definitely didn't. It would have been impossible to smuggle a metal blade through such a gate and into the facility, which would seem to blow a rather large hole in your reasoning, Mr. Winner.
Overruled.
The gate is only used to scan people. Any items they bring into the facility are only subject to a cursory check. Are you telling me that the chess set wasn't put through the metal detector? It should have been. Alas, it seems the guards have grown a little lax in that regard of late. Very good. Thank you, Cavell. It was my pleasure. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, if you would be so kind as to begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination. It's like she's holding a trial. Well, no matter. Let's see how well this ingenious seduction of Mr. Winner's holds up, shall we?
Hold it!
But no murder weapon was found at the crime scene, and there's nothing inside the chessboard either. I'm curious, Mr. Winner, do you also have thoughts about where this weapon might be? Well, the perpetrator must have hidden it somewhere in the prison. Is there a problem with this claim? They hid it somewhere inside the prison. That seems unlikely. In fact, I can prove that's not the case. What evidence suggests that the murder weapon isn't hiding somewhere in the prison?
Take that!
I'm starting to worry about your memory, Mr. Winner. Didn't you and the good judge search the prison with Warden Lagarde? And didn't you fail to find a likely murder weapon? Well, yes, but I guess you dismissed it, that's all. Wow, way to undermine yourself. You're saying your search wasn't entirely thorough. You, the so-called winning rookie. Stop making fun of me! Eustace. Calm yourself. Breathe deeply. Do not allow your opponent to get under your skin. You're right. I'm a winner. Why should I let a third-rate loser like Edgeworthless here get under my skin? I'll thank you to leave my name out of this. Well, I'm Kay Faraday, and I'm A-OK! Not you two, please. Look, it's simple. Because my first-rate investigation into Turnabout weapon, it means there wasn't one to find. Which leaves only one possibility. The murderer took the weapon with him when he left the prison. That's why we couldn't find it when we looked, obviously.
Objection!
But what you're proposing is impossible. And this proves why the culprits could possibly have taken the weapon out of the prison with them.
Take that!
More memory trouble, Mr. Winner? Now you're forgetting things you yourself said. Are you making fun of me again? Oh, so you remember what I said. But perhaps you might have been better served by remembering this. What's that? Wait, does he seriously not remember? It would certainly seem that way. There's the security gate at each of the entrances to the detention center and the prison proper. Coming from the prison, anyone leaving the facility would have had to have passed through both of them. 2 gates both fitted with metal detectors. Oh wait! Now I remember! Looks like he got his memory back. So as you can see, there is no way anyone could have taken a weapon out through both gates. And therefore, there is no way the murder weapon could have left the building. Gah! In which case, Mr. Edgeworth, perhaps you would care to tell us where you think the murder weapon might be. It is still here on the premises. It's the only plausible conclusion to be drawn. But we searched the prison from top to bottom and couldn't find anything. Because you were never going to find anything to begin with. Not when you were laboring under the misconception that it's a blade you were looking for. Yeah, we know the truth about what happened to Mr. Knight. We've seen it with our own eyes. That is quite a claim. I assume you have the evidence to support it. What is the weapon that was used to commit the crime? Take a look at this, Judge Cavell, and the weapon used in the case will become clear.
Take that!
This is footage taken from a security camera trained in Knight's holding cell. Now, watch for yourselves and see. I like that it looks like sped up. Well, I guess it is, technically. Whatever. It's minutes or seconds. What? But how? This footage captures the moment the victim was attacked by a black dog. More than sufficient proof of how he really died, wouldn't you say? Yes, it is certainly significant. So now we know that Knight was, in fact, killed in his cell by a vicious dog. A dog that moved the victim's body to the prison workshop post-mortem. We know this thanks to an eyewitness who saw the dog in the workshop when the body was discovered. Of course, I think we can all agree that there is no way the dog could have planned such a crime itself. Indeed, I feared it may be his handiwork after all.
Overruled.
That's quite enough of that, Mr. Edgeworth. Judge Gavell, you are correct that this footage is an important piece of evidence, but it also raises an important new question. A question that I suspect you have also been asking yourself. She's right. There is one major problem with my version of the events. The black dog, the one that belongs to one of the inmates. How did it move between the holding cells and the prison proper at will? Oh! How do we answer that one, Mr. Edgeworth? The truth is, I don't know yet. Heh, of course not. Can it, Wonder Boy? You didn't even notice there was a problem. Until the defense provides an adequate explanation, the court cannot accept your line of logic. That is all. This court is adjourned. But, wait! There's still so much more to explore!
Overruled.
Court is no longer in session, Mr. Edgeworth. If you'd be so kind as to leave the courtroom. Court was never in session in the first place. Once again, this court is a...
Objection!
We may not have all the answers yet, but you haven't explained anything either regarding Mr. Saint. What do you mean? Just as we don't yet know how the dog made it into one of the detention center's holding cells, you can't know how Mr. Saint could have made it inside the detention center, let alone the prison either. He would have been allowed as far as the visitor's room to see his friend, but no further. So it's hard for me to conceive how he could have committed a crime in a place he had no access to. Judge Gavell, I believe it's your turn to provide some proof. Proof that Simeon Saint was able to enter the prison.
Overruled.
Haha. You wish for the court to provide you with proof. Highly irregular, but very well. What? They actually have something? Now seems like as good a time as any. And I suppose you have been kind enough to share your own theories in the case. What's she building up to here? Mr. Edgeworth, I suspect you don't know what Mr. Saint does for a living, so allow me to fill you in. He is a circus performer. Ah, a what? Yes, perhaps you've heard of the Very Big Circus? Oh, don't be silly, darling. Of course I was. Yesterday was a very important day, after all. Important in what way, exactly? A big meeting of some kind, perhaps. A meeting? Oh, heavens no. I couldn't think of anything worse. No, yesterday the circus came to visit. You see it now, I assume. As I am sure you are aware, a show was held yesterday for the prisoners' entertainment. A show featuring animals and performers, performed by members of the Very Big Circus. So does that mean Mr. Saint... Yes, Mr. Saint was allowed inside the prison as part of that show.
fact that has been confirmed beyond reasonable doubt. No! She held on to that fact until the last possible moment. She let me run with my own theory, and only afterwards did she use it to reveal the truth. Wait. But Alcavel, I have him right where I want him. Forgive me, Eustace, but if I may, while the particulars of the suspect are indeed fascinating, don't we have something a little more impressive to share with the prosecutor? That must be why she steered on to a different topic back then, too. Yeah! I got you good, didn't I, you third-rate prosecutor? This has nothing to do with you. Gentlemen, this court is well and truly adjourned. If I may offer a word of advice, Mr. Edgeworth. Your conduct as a prosecutor is already in question. You would do well to remember that you were removed from this case for that precise reason. What are you trying to say? That the committee reserves the right to confiscate your badge at any time. Should you wish to retain it, you would do well to avoid crossing paths with us again. Is that a threat? The goddess of justice is compassionate, Mr. Edgeworth, but she is not endlessly forgiving. Oh, and one last thing. You are no defense attorney. Abandon this foolish pretense. Thank you for your concern, but I do not abandon anything. Where I start, I finish. Well, do try to remember that the two jobs are not one and the same, and that a defense attorney is expected to develop something of a bond with their client. Next time, finding out your client's real occupation might be a good place to start. Gah! Now, I really must be going. May the goddess of justice watch over you all. So Simeon lied to us. Not just you two. Guy took me for a ride too. What's his deal? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're not having second thoughts about all this, are you, Mousy boy? Sure, George Gavel's a tough cookie, but that doesn't mean you can just give up the ghost. The defense never rests, as a wise man once said, and that goes for associates too. Don't worry, Fender. I have no intention of resting. Nevertheless, our assumption that Mr. Saint couldn't have entered the prison has been proven false, which means we'll need to restart our investigation from square one, I'm afraid.
Oh my god, that was a long section. Jesus Christ. I forgot how long, my god. Okay. Does not help that I'm coming off of a long-ass closing shift yesterday, but Jesus Christ, man. Alright, that's it. Bye.